Hello everyone, welcome to Code Mortals. Let's get started because today is CodeKombat and there's a bit of an echo. Andrew, your tablet is on. How's the volume on your tablet? 1 second. Let me just turn the volume on this down so we don't get that noise coming through. So Andrew and me are going to do a bit of code competition. I'm going to use Angular material to do a blog, to create a blog. And Andrew is going to do Angular and no material and keep it very vanilla. So we're going to compete and see who can get the most done in 1 hour to make it realistic. Because last week, let's face it was a bit of a disaster. We did Code Wars and it was very academic. And let's be honest, we struggled. I don't know if you saw it. If you didn't, then good, because it was very embarrassing. So today, we'll make it realistic. And it's still going to be embarrassing because I haven't created an Angular project from scratch in ages. So I'm going to be reading documentation and any help and tips, please say. And yeah, just help me. And when Andrew gets back, I'll be here in a second. Just distract him and give him false information and just give him lots of ideas and distractions, please, in the chat. I really appreciate it. So as Andrew has gone to get a drink, let's start. So if I lean over to his computer, I can put my screen on and you should now see my screen. And I have, if I take you to just the Angular page. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start a project. Let's just get started. So Angular.io. Angular, if you don't know what it is, it's a freaking awesome framework. It's a web framework that allows you to do component-based UI with services and dependency injection and use TypeScript, which is just awesome. But you're interested to know if you've used it before and what your view is. Talking about Vue, I haven't used Vue.js, but I hear it's really good. I've used React, but it's hard to compare it with React because React's a library, it's not a framework. I prefer the framework side of things. But, let's see how I get on. And one day we were thinking of getting someone to do the similar sort of things within today, but rather than Angular and material versus Angular and custom or vanilla styling, we could get a React person, maybe get a Vue.js person. I see a bit of real projects and real people doing that kind of maybe in a test-like situation. We're going to see how much we can get done in an hour. Put your ideas, questions, thoughts below. And don't forget, it's Oktoberfest. So if you look at my repo and you want to make some suggestions, just send a pull request. Get those 4 pull requests so that you can get your free swag from GitHub and DigitalOcean. Let me get started. So I'm showing my screen. Let's get started. So I can't remember. I know it's ng something, but I forget. ng new probably. Let's have a look. Your first app. CLI commands. Let's just go down to here. You're going to see how simple this is. Just go to the overview, install it. I've already got it installed, so that's fine. So we can just go ng, not my first project. I will call it something like, actually I can do it all within VS Code. And by doing that, I can just hit let me make the directory. So ng new. Andrew's.
How are we doing? We're ready to start.
They can't remember to hear you, by the way. You're not on the microphone. Andrew's just entered, and he wants to start. And if he asks,
you started without me, have you?
we have not started, have we, anyone?
You've started without me.
I've literally just
written. Go off, go get yourself a drink, get comfortable, come back, and you've already started to get a head start.
I've only written ng new. I haven't even written the project name. I can't think of the project name. So.
Have you explained what's going on this evening?
I have, but maybe you should repeat it because I kind of got excited.
We have put something in the description though on YouTube, so if you check the description, it should say a little bit about what we're doing.
Nobody reads the description.
True.
Oh, you repeat. I'll carry on getting started. Distract him. Remember, asking questions.
Look at this guy. Anything to get a head start. But yeah, no, we're going to build a front end for a blog. Eddie is going to be cheating as well because he's going to be using a framework for his design.
I'm using a framework, Angular, and I'm using a framework for the design.
You are. You have 2 frameworks involved, whereas I'm going for a single framework. I'm going to just use Angular, and any design components I'm going to build myself from scratch. Which means I've got lots of HTML and CSS to write, whilst you just...
Magic. And you get to vote who the winner is.
Absolutely. So there's 3 criteria we're looking at. Well, I suppose one of those is more how much of work have we actually done. But we're looking at designs, what everyone thinks of the design. So please vote who you think looks best, bearing in mind that I've had the harder challenge because I'm not using a framework to do my design. And then we're looking at best practices. So things like documentation, testing that might be in there.
Good time for testing today.
Nice clean code, those kind of things. Clean
code, definitely.
And then also just what we actually built. So we're looking at probably having a list for the blog, viewing the actual blog itself, a form so you can create a blog. However, we've got no back end, so we're just going to be using some JSON files and loading those in. Again,
for this week, for next week,
HTTP client still load those
Yeah.
locally. That's fine. Yeah. So enjoy. We will, I'm sure, talk through what we're doing. As I can see on the screen, Eddie's already installed Angular, and I haven't even done that step yet. So
you've got the faster computer, so yours will do it like that.
Still on the same internet, and that's the bottleneck. Okay, so I shall begin as well. And I'm sure Eddie can fill you in on what he's been doing in the last 5 minutes coding away.
It's been like 30 seconds. So in the chat, let us know what frameworks you're using. Are you a front-end dev, back-end dev, full stack like us? It'd be really interesting to know. And let us know what the audio and video is like, please. That'd be really helpful. Know if we need to tweak the audio a bit louder, quieter, and so forth. So I've just opened VS Code by typing code dot. And you can see I've created an Angular project using the CLI. Really, really simple. And let's see what commands we've got. So if we go in package.json, we will see that we've got ngserve. We can just say npm start. So if I open the terminal below, we can just go npm start. And it'll go, pow! We're going to have a hello world project.
Awesome. Whereas I am still floating behind. If I pop my screen up for a moment.
I've got an error. Yeah, put your screen up because I just got port in use. I need to fix something.
I've just realised I'm a little bit behind on Angular. I was on 8.04, but the latest is 8.39. So I've just done a quick update of Angular, make sure I'm on the latest one. Don't want any of those early version 8 bugs on my code. So I've got a latest version. Now I can do an ng new, and it will ask various questions. What would I like to call it? Let's just call this blog challenge. Why not? That'll do.
Riddlestones Online.
So, blog challenge, we're like Angular routing. Well, we're going to have a couple of pages, so I'm going to say yes, give me that. Nice bit of help going on. SCSS, that sounds good to me. There it goes, flies away, create some files.
Thank you, Riddlestone. Riddlestone says the audio is good.
Awesome. Hey, how are you doing, Andrew? Or Andy? Riddlestone, as we always call you.
Riddlestone.
Hope you're well. Have you been doing much with Angular? I know you've been still doing bits of JavaScript. Lots of PHP. What are you using at the moment?
My project is up. Let's have a look. If I go localhost, can I switch to my screen while yours is doing boring stuff?
Yeah. Let's hop across. Sorry, we've left the Stream Deck behind today, so you'll see every now and then when I swap screens between me and Eddie, I'll have to pop over to OBS just to
my fault.
Swap which one we're on.
I bring in a whole suitcase every day, and Andrew brings in nothing.
Hang on, without this laptop, nothing works. We've seen that from yours.
That's why you're going to code so much faster, because you've got the faster laptop.
Yeah, but it's being drained down by all the kit running off it.
So, have you switched to my screen? Oh yeah, you have. Perfect. So I've got Angular running. I've got the npm start, as you can see at the top of the terminal, and now it's running. If you go to the browser, you can now see I've got Hello World, which I called my project Angular Material. Yeah, is now running. So looks pretty good. But let's strip all that out and let's add material, because this is just Angular stuff. So what I'm going to do is just going to go into index, and let's just remove anything we don't need. No, it seems alright. Seems okay. So index is fine. What else can we check? Let's check the app. So we've got the app component. Yeah, it's a lot of rubbish in here. We don't want any of this. Yeah. This is kind of stuff Andy's going to have to be writing because...
Well, I don't have to write at least the integration points for Angular Material, because that's really difficult, right? It was just a one-liner these days, isn't it?
I think it's like 1.5 lines, and I don't remember where the line goes, but it's pretty straightforward. So all this stuff I'm going to get rid of, and I just probably want any router outlet. That's when we do the routing or on the URL, then that's what we want. Everything else, I think, can just go. Delete the whole lot. Boom. Oops. Yes. Boom. Gone. Save that, and hopefully that should go. Just check in the SCSS. We've got nothing. It's fine. Spec file, leave it in there. We'll write probably end-to-end test in another stream. We'll probably write with Cypress and Cucumber, but not for now. So, what else? So I think that's working. And if I saved it, it'll automatically reload. Have a look at the page, and the page is white. Obviously, the page is white because there's nothing on the page. So let's add a component first. That's
my computer going, you're doing too many things.
No, isn't that the other thing? That thing.
It could be overheating a little bit again. It's warm.
So, so what pages do we need for the blog? So we need like the home page to do the list, and then we need the view more details. Let's do the list first. So what we can do is we need to create a component. So you can use the commands to do this.
I'll let you crack on. I was going to say I've caught up to you a little bit now.
Already?
I have the project running locally, and unlike you, I have chosen to be using WebStorm instead.
WebStorm. Why don't you switch over to Andrews and have a look at his lovely WebStorm, which needs like a gig of RAM just to run Hello World. VS Code is really awesome. Okay, you swap over.
So yeah, this is another reason why I've got a bit of a hog today, because I'm using WebStorm. I haven't got VS Code set up correctly on this computer at the moment. So WebStorm, it's nice. It largely works out the box, which is what I like about it. But you'll see the same sort of thing that Eddie had. I have the project running. I can see it over here, blog challenge. I haven't actually created an Angular project since Angular 8. It looks like they've changed the startup.
It looks really good.
Done lots of upgrades, upgrading things from 6, 7 to 8, but not started a brand new one, I've realised, since 8 came out.
I'm going to try and use the commands, ng add. Don't know what that does. Let's have a look.
So yeah, it looks very nice, but I'm going to strip all of that out because I'm on a different page. I want this to be, when I open the page, my list of blogs. So similar to what Eddie's doing, I'm going to change this and I'm going to have a list of blogs. You can follow me for a minute whilst Eddie thinks about what he needs to do.
Well, I want to use the cheat. I'm going to use the Angular command, do ng generate to generate a component for me. Never used it before. Let's see how it goes.
Cool. So when I first open this up, I can see lots and lots of code in the app component. I'm not going to want most of that. If you look at the index file, so for anyone not using Angular before, starts with this app root. That's the important one. That's what loads Angular in, really. And it comes with the title of what I call the project blog challenge. I'm not going to change any of those bits. But the app is where everything happens. Don't really want any of that, so I'm just going to literally delete the whole thing. The component itself, again, I'm not going to need the title because I'm not going to be using that. So I'll take that out. App root, that's fine. I'd normally change that for the project I'm using, but in this case, we're not going to do that. We have the module, that's fine. Routing files, this will be where the roots come in later. That all looks good. So first thing I want to do is probably build my initial component that I'm going to use for my list, and I'm going to load that into the app, because the app becomes more of a frame for everything. I might put navigation and stuff on there, but I'm not going to put the list on there because it needs to really have something wrapping around it. So first of all, I add another directory, and I'll just go for this modules, and let's drop that into the source folder. Oh, it is in the source folder. Okay, cool. And let's have a new file. So as Eddie was about to say, I need a directory. Let's put one called blogs in. Blog. All right, in here, I will have a couple of files. I'm going to have a blog module. I shouldn't be saying this out loud because Eddie can copy me while I'm talking.
I am. Keep talking.
So blog module is what I first want, and that's going to be an ng module. There it is. IDE helps me out a little bit.
Who is tank? Who is plane? Oh man, that's great. Who is tank? Who is plane? Andrew's tank, I think. I'll be plane, player 2. I want to crash and burn, but kamikaze style. Hit your tank.
Very good. I think very soon we're going to try and do a stream series where we actually try building a computer game. But we're starting out, first of all, this kind of CodeKombat series is going to be more about building this blog, and we're starting with the front end. Next one will probably be the back end. Then we'll probably do a refinement where we bring the two together, and then we might have a final one, which is do something interesting and get some votes back on that. And then if that's all a success, we'll go on to probably building a game in a similar fashion.
A game would be quite good, yeah. Maybe a game where we can compete with each other or something. I don't know, we'll see. We've got some ideas. We're starting off simple for now. And just to repeat, anyone who's just joined, Andrew's using Angular and everything else is vanilla. I'm using Angular Material, although I haven't put Material on yet. I'm still figuring shit out.
So I'm already getting a bit of a head start as I've got my initial module being built. So I wanted to import the router module because there's going to be some routes inside this module. Sometimes I might create a common module that would have all these things included, but again, small project, not going to do that. Next thing we want is a blog component. So blog component TS, this is going to be just called component. So again, we use this component annotation, and then we're going to export from this.
You're not using the CLI, are you?
Of course not.
See, I am. Okay, that's good. That's
I'm making sure that everyone gets to see how you write this stuff for raw. Whilst, yes, there are commands you can run that will create components and so forth.
Which is what I'm using, yeah. So it's good to see, two different. I'm further ahead.
You're further ahead. Good claim to make. Okay, and then there will be a template that we use. So that our template is going to be called blog component HTML. I hope the screen's reasonably readable. I can try making it a bit bigger, the font maybe. But hopefully it's reasonably readable. So shout if it needs to be bigger. So again, style URLs, this is an array, but we're only going to probably have one file, but we might not even have this, but I'll put it in for good measure right now. Hey Connor, good to see you here again.
Hey Connor, how you doing? Yeah, we're good. We're good. You just missed us do a recap, so I'll do a really, really quick recap.
How many times can we recap?
Yeah. CodeKombat. I'm doing Angular. Using frameworks, Angular and Material frameworks, and using the CLI on Angular to build a project real quickly. And Andrew's doing it all by hand, but he's using Angular, but building the components by hand and going to style it all by hand. So yes, and then we've got an hour. We've got only about 45 minutes left. We started a little bit late, as always. You can see I'm player 2. Andrew really wanted to be player 1, so I thought I'd let him have that. And so, as Aman said, he's the tank and I'm the plane and I'm going to crash. I'll keep talking and get distracted. So Andrew, if you can distract Andrew from me, ask him Andrew lots of questions.
Yeah, so I've got a bare component made. I need to declare this component actually exists. So to declare it exists, we just say blog component. And then we can use that in our routing, which we're going to need. So I'm just taking a moment to think. I need to create a routing file in here so that I can use the routing file. And I'm going to also, what else do we want? Yeah, let's start with the routing file. I need one of those. So, okay, we'll call it blog router for now. This is another module. I could have put this in the other one. I didn't have to create a new file. It's just force of habit, I guess. I have a const in here for roots, and it's going to be of type root.
So Connor, what have you been up to? Why does that not work? I'm already stuck.
Okay, so I've got roots. So have you on your screen or mine? We're still on mine. Okay, cool.
So
you're getting to cheat, going around the internet, copying and pasting lots of code. I like your plan. Path. So we're going to start with just a blank path for this one because it's going to be my list page.
I've got something working. Let me share my screen.
Okay, let me just finish doing the roots.
Okay.
You might be interested in the root.
I've got my roots working, so I'm really excited.
Oh, okay. So yeah, blog component is going to be the parent, and there's going to be some children in here. So I'm going to have children, and whilst I haven't got those just yet, there will be a similar thing. So there'll be something like path, top level path again. We're not going to put anything in it. And there'll be a component that comes in a moment, which will probably be something like blog list component. And I'll do that in a moment. And then, yeah, we can just export that, export class, and it will be blog router. It needs to then actually use it. So this is the bit that becomes interesting. So again, we have an import in here, and we use the router module, and we say for child, because this will be a child, and we're going to use those roots that are above and make those available through this module. So that's how we create some simple roots that's going to use two components. It's going to have the blog component and that's going to have something inside it. To make that work, this needs to have a router outlet in there, and that will be where the blog list component will get injected to when we're on the list page. But go on, Eddie, do you want to show people yours?
No, not anymore. I've moved on to the next bit. I'm stuck, so I need to Google stuff.
Let's put you backwards a bit. Go on, we're going to put Eddie up. There we go. Go on, tell everyone how you've done your roots.
So, okay, I can show you the roots because that's working. So what I've done is I did, let me scroll back through my history. I did ng generate component, the name of the component's list. I should probably hold it blog list, but I can rename it later. And I generated ng component home, because then I want home component to be on the landing page, and then list you click on it. So I created those, but I couldn't test it without typing into the URL, so I had to put some links in. So I've just put, as you can see here, 2 links, home and list. And then on the home page, it just has homeworks, which was generated by the ng CLI command, and then list works. So when I go and see it in the page, yes, they're right next to each other, so it looks like it's home list, but it's actually 2 links. So click on home, it doesn't work. Oh, I'm halfway through doing something, so I busted it. I have started installing material, so I think I've broken it. But a minute ago, it did work. Oh, I know why. It goes to list, but doesn't go back to home. So that's fine. I can fix that. But now I've just gone to the material page, and to install material on Angular, it looks like it's just ng add Angular material, whereas before you had to put stuff in SCSS files and all the rest. So I think that's pretty easy, and you can go straight in and use it. So let's try that, and let's have a look and see. Put in a slider straight away. You always need a good slider.
You do like your sliders, but I'm not sure what the use on your blog is. Maybe to say it's draft and live. That might work.
Yeah, true. Give Andrew some ideas on what he can do, because then you can distract him. What's Connor say? Learning React right now. Sorry, guys. Maybe I should look into Angular. Yes, React's more of a framework. React's more of a library, whereas Angular's more of a framework.
So you'll see when we're doing this, all we've done is we did an ng new, created a new project, and that's given us everything to work with. We're not having to add Axios or any other libraries really that you need to do various activities that you do with React. Whilst it's nice to have that flexibility in React, it's not one of our favourite ways of working. It's better to have something that's a bit stricter, certainly if you're doing a big project that you expect to be around for a long time. Yeah,
something you want to maintain for a while. Otherwise, you might be using all these dependencies in React, and then because it's just a library, you include other libraries, and then some of them don't. If you do an update of one of them, it might not work with another, and we've had all sorts of problems in the past, whereas Angular, we don't seem to have those issues, so it's quite good. So I'm going to use a card. So if you see this is going to be my blog post list. I might not quite have it looking like this, but I want to take that, and let's put that in and have a look. So on my list component, I'll leave list works at the top. Let's add that. It doesn't detect the items yet because I need to include it. Where is it? Overview. I will need to include it. I thought it said. Doesn't say. But basically, there we go. That's what we need. Need to include it in app module. Here we go. I might need that again. So let's put that up front. All that flickering at the bottom is a bit of a pain. So we'll include this mat card module, so therefore you only include what you need from the material component, and it's in the imports. Let's just do it alphabetically. There we go. If anyone wants to jump in and help me, give me some ideas, do say. So if I save that, I didn't save list. Save that. Hopefully that should work. I didn't select it. Of course it's not going to work. Choose a pre-built theme. Pink and blue, purple and green, deep purple, indigo and pink. What colour is indigo?
Sort of blue, purpley blue.
Okay, perfect. What do you reckon? What colour should I pick? Deep, not amber, blue, grey and pink. I like that. Let's do that. Okay, pick that. Set up Hammer.js for gestures recognition. Yes, that's fine. Set up browser animations for Angular material. Yes, it's fine. Right, now it's updating. Now we should hopefully get some things working. I will quickly demo this, and then the screen is all back to you. And don't forget to ask Andrew lots of questions, give him loads of ideas, basically slow him down. Okay, so let's have a look. It doesn't quite look quite right. Oh, it's still reloading. I got the font in. The styling is a bit better. There's obviously a missing picture here. The buttons don't quite look right though. That's interesting. What have I done? Maybe I'll probably need to restart and stop the project just so it picks it all up. Let me stop that and start it again. Let's have a look and see. Because obviously added to the package JSON. I don't know if that will get reloaded because that's something you do all the time. Interesting why this isn't getting picked up. What else have I missed? It added browser animations module. We've got Mac card. Looking good so far. Let me just shuffle this up. So therefore all mine are together. and then all the angular ones are together as well. Actually, I should go down. There we go, save that. Hopefully it's a bit better. That is looking slightly better. You've got the kind of the grey background. Those buttons don't quite look, oh, I haven't included buttons, that's why. Silly, silly me. So, this is where you should be helping me. It's been a long day and I'm tired, and Andrew has got loads of red on the screen, which is quite funny. And we need another camera from behind and we can kind of show it's all red.
We're saying we could try and put both screens up next to each other, right? I'm
yeah,
not sure,
we have to make the font size really big, like zoom in loads. And we could do it, we'll try it and see. So let me just go back to what I was doing, which was, in this card, if I click on the material documentation, it's got matte button, which we haven't included yet. So we'll need to click that. So if I go to button, I'm guessing it is just, follows the same standard. Let's have a look. So I'll add it to the end, it's not alphabetical, but I think that's fine for now. So this is how easy it is to include all these modules. I don't know why Andrew wants to write this all from scratch.
I don't want to. We said we need to have some sort of competitiveness that's just more than having the exact same parameters to work with. And
now,
you said I need to have a handicap as well.
That's true.
Or you say I'm handicapped, I'm not sure.
Yeah, it was a bit confusing on that. But you can see I've got buttons now. Okay, so we've got something, it's a full page, it's massive, it's obviously not going to work for a blog list. We need to make it smaller, but we can work on that. But I have got material included, and I need to do the navigation. So how should we do the navigation? What else has material got for us? So they have layout. I'm using card from the layout. We could have a sidebar. Please open stack bits. No, I don't want to open that. Examples. Yeah, I think you can't open it here. That's fine. I could just do a tool. You know what? Let's just do a toolbar. Toolbar. Much simpler. So if I just grab that, you're going to see how simple and beautiful it is. Actually, the example might even be better. With some icons. Icons. We all love some icons. So if I just grab that, see, copy and paste driven development. Love it, right? Who doesn't copy and paste? Just don't copy and paste from Stack Overflow, because that shit is always out of date. And if I put that at the top, so for this routing now, if I put it right at the top, okay, I only want one, I don't want all of these at the moment. We might have more in the future. And then don't forget I need to include it. So if I go to the API, it'll tell me what I need to include. Or actually a lot of time you can do this. So I can copy and paste the name of it, which is always Matt, then the name that ends in module, and then you just delete the last letter, and type the last letter. It should autocomplete. Should. It's not. That's kind of embarrassing. Okay. Copy and paste it is. And then you'll see a lovely toolbar. There we go. I just need the spacing on either side of this because this kind of otherwise bugs me. Refresh. You should see a nice toolbar at the top. It won't have our links.
Screen is bouncing around a bit, isn't it?
Mine is, yeah. Mine is really flickering. I think the bar's getting higher and higher. Maybe you should jump to yours.
I can put mine on for a minute.
Yeah.
Unless you particularly wanted to show
something. I was going to show something.
Go on, finish showing what you're showing. It'll be fine.
It's not working, but I can only see what I've done wrong. Oh, I didn't save the file. That would help if I saved the file. See? Even developers get it wrong. Developers with 15 years experience get it wrong. And the page is blank. Just open. We should really have the DevTools open. We can see if there's any errors. And there is an error. What does it say? Matte icon is not an element. We didn't add a matte icon yet. Right, okay. Let's have a look. This is why you shouldn't copy and paste. Did I ever say copy and paste? No. So let's go to icon. We need to include icon. And we'll copy and paste that out to module. It might seem like it's extra work, but it keeps everything really lean, so you only include in the project what you actually need. It also does tree shake as well, so it'll strip it down even further. Right. Moment of truth, we're going to have a really nice toolbar. There we go, look. Third line. We haven't changed the text, which is a bit stupid. And we've got two icons. And we'll put the home and the list onto that. Right, Andrew, the screen is all yours. Take it away. You've got pictures of cats on the screen.
I've given up. No. Yeah, as Eddie says, I've just gone to go find some pictures of cats. I'm creating at the moment a blog list JSON file, because I'm going to need to load some JSON into the page to show my list of blogs. So I was thinking, well, what do I want in the content? I don't want to say this too loud, so you can probably read the screen, right? Because I don't want Eddie to copy me. Make it bigger. There we go. I'll make it a bit bigger. There we go. So that's what I've got in my JSON so far. We're saying title, an image, content, and I'm sure we'll add a few more things as well. Like we could have a created date, perhaps. 2019, 10, what are we on, 15th? Yeah. We'll just say it was done at 7 o'clock. How about that?
Don't forget to fire any questions in the chat and we will answer. Or any ideas, just jump away.
Yeah, so I'm going to grab an image. This one looks good. Let me see. Grab the link to it. Copy image address. There we go. Right, so this is where things on my screen are probably going to look really crazy when I first load this up, which I need to first of all do by actually pulling this file in. So I've put this into the assets folder. This gets deployed with Angular, anything you put in here. But I need to actually call this. So to do that, first of all, I'm going to need access to the HTTP client library. So I can call that in from here. So for anyone that is from the React world, you've probably seen things like Axios for making HTTP calls. Oh, I was going to put module on the end. Okay, so we get the module, and then we can, once we've imported the module, so it's now available, so when Angular does its tree shaking, it will keep that one in there. And I'm going to need to pull that down now. Well, normally I'd have a service. Yeah, I should probably keep a service. Let's do that. So I will drop in to my app, service, another directory called services. Because obviously I get points for best practices, so we've got to have a services folder. I don't want to cheat. And we call it blog service TS. And now this is an injectable. So I've had components and I've had modules. Now we've got injectables, and provided by is what we want. We're provided in root, so it's just available everywhere. So export again class, and this is going to be the blog service. So now to bring in provided modules, we put that into the constructor. So I say constructor, I want something private, I'm going to call it HTTP, and this is going to be one of those HTTP clients. And then we can load that up. So now I can have a method in here just saying find all blogs. And it's going to return an observable. So this comes from the RxJS world, observables. And it's going to return an observable, which is, I'll just say it's an array of blog. So I need to create a type now called blog because we're using TypeScript. So again, in the services, I'm going to do this. Now some people have a core folder or similar where they put services and modules. I'm not doing that for this one. But model. So Angular's got everything you need out of the box. That's one thing I've noticed with Ratchet. Yes, that's pretty much correct. There are some things you might want to add, like if I wanted Markdown support, then I'd probably have to install something like Showdown or Marked so that I can include conversion of Markdown. But some people like to do that on the server side anyway, so it depends where you're doing it. If I get time, I might try and put that in, but we're already burning through the hours this evening, so we probably won't have time to do that this time, but maybe on one of the refinement challenges later on, might include Markdown to say there's one of my improvements and see what Eddie comes up with for his improvements when we get to that challenge. But yeah, right now I'm not doing that. So I've got a blog TS, so I need to export an interface called blog. And now based on what I put in my JSON here, I want to have these things available. So I've got title, image, content, and created. So I can put those in title, which is only a string, content, which again is going to be a string. So this is just defining something that I can use really. Image again is a string, and created is a date. Okay, so now when I'm using my service, it will understand, if I import it, what a blog model looks like. So it knows now I'm going to be returning an array of blog models. So I didn't have to, within my model, call it an array. I could just call it a blog, and then I can define it's going to be a list of them inside here. And now to do that, we need to go this.http, And I can do a get. And again, we can define our types in here to say what's going to be returned. So it's going to be an array of blog. And we're going to be calling my local folder. So I'm just going to be calling /assets. It's trying to give me some help, but I don't need help. I'm sure Eddie would like some help though. List.json.
Help me, please.
And I'm going to return that. Okay, I don't need to do anything else with it. I just need to return it. Again, I should really define this as something with a modifier on this. So it's going to be public. It's available to whatever's using this service. And that's pretty much all I need to do to make a call. I mean, that there could be an API on the internet, could be anything. In this case, it's just a JSON file I've got locally because I'm not running and calling a service.
Where did you put the JSON file? Just in assets?
In the assets folder,
Got
yeah.
you.
Yeah, so I just can call it with assets, blog, and then list JSON. So now if I go back to my list up here, again, I can use a constructor in here. And in my constructor, I will call private, and this is going to be blog service, which is using my blog service that I've just made. And then we can make use of how Angular loads things on the page. So we're going to say this is going to implement the onInit capability of Angular. So Angular goes through some lifecycle hooks, on it being pretty much the first one. You then got sort of the view being loaded, content being loaded. You've got when the content's been checked and not checked. So there's all sorts of different states. And when you start building custom components, they become more important. But typically when you're building a page component, which is largely what this one is, it's mostly a page, onInit is mostly what you're going to need. But to do that, you have to implement some stuff. So again, the IDE is telling me I'm missing the ng onInit method. So we need to implement this. And this is what's going to get called before any of the code. So nothing's going to be rendered on the page until this has been completed. So in here, I want to pretty much just subscribe to this service. So I'm going to have a private, or public actually, public blog list, which again is going to be typed. So everything's typed in here. It's an array of blog. Okay. And then we can call the service. So I can say this blog service, without going down arrow first, blog service, and find all blogs, and then we can subscribe to that because it's returning an observable. So it's a little bit like a promise, but much, much better than a promise. We can explain RxJS in the future, I'm sure, for people that want to know more about it. But this is going to be my blog list effectively.
RxJS, freaking awesome. TypeScript with Angular is amazing. You've got RxJS, you've got some observables. It's just beautiful.
And then all I've got to do is assign it. So I'm saying this blog list, so blog list is something that's going to be available to the HTML. And I'm just going to say subscribe to it. So when it's got the data, it's going to assign it into that variable. It's as simple as that again. So there are two parts to it. Obviously, I've created a service that actually calls the service. Then I've used the service inside the template. So I can reuse this service anywhere in the code I want to. At the moment, it's only in one place. And then I can, on my list here, rather than just putting out some text that says blog list, I could put, let's say, a div there. And inside that div, we could do a loop. So we'll say start ng4. So ng4 does loops. And we say let blog of... Ooh, computer's panicking a little bit. Hopefully the feed is still working. Let blog of blog list. There it is. So this is going to loop through all the items in that blog list and make use of it. It has noted that I haven't yet imported my common module, because so in order to use some of these built-in directives, as they're called, or this is a structured directive, for anyone that wants the correct name, we need to actually include the common module from Angular. So pretty much everywhere you use Angular, you're bound to use the common module. Hence it's called common, I suppose. And that will now include the ng4, so it's not got the squiggly line under it now. And then we can put something else in. So I'll start with just a simple h1 tag. We can say blog.title. Then we can have a paragraph around that. That's going to be the blog content. Again, because of TypeScript, it's giving me some assistance, so it knows what's available. And I'll put one more paragraph on the page, and we're going to use blog.created. And again, we can use these things called pipes in Angular, and we can format that out as a date. And again, it comes with some additional things. So I can say short date, for example, in here. And there's lots of different built-in formats. You can even define your own. So I can do things like YYY, MMDD, as you normally might define. So I'll just use short, which is a built-in format for a date. Let's have a look, see what that looks like on the page. Hopefully I've not broken everything when I did that. Okay, I'm not seeing anything. What's happened? There is an error on the page. It is saying error with find all blogs. Okay, made a mistake somewhere. It's one of those you import it once when you
Don't
first
help
build a
him.
project.
Don't help him.
I'm going to cheat slightly. I'm going to look at the CodeMortals project. Oh, actually, no, it's working. Hang on a minute. I'm preserving my logs. That's why. Apologies. I forgot I had preserve logs on, so I'm going to turn preserve logs back off so it doesn't confuse me again. It was working. So the problem was that I needed to put the client module into here. I was right the first time. So there it is. I can see, as it reloads the site because I made a small change. My first blog, the first blog, welcome to my blog. And there's the date formatted down here, 8 p.m. So if I was to go to this list now, and I could put another entry in here, so let's duplicate that. I can say second blog, let's say.
I think you got more questions. Look at the questions. Look at the chat.
Oh, there's questions. Sorry. No, it's not. It's the same question. If anyone has got questions, by all means do ask. So I've now just added another one. So this should now have 2 items on the page. There it is, second blog. Obviously I didn't change the description, text, or the date, but I can see them being listed down the page now. I haven't put the image out yet, so we could add the image onto the page. Let's go to the list, and we can put an image tag in. And the source for the image tag. Now, in order to target this, we put source in square brackets. That allows us to, again, make use of the code behind it. We can just say source blog image. So if I go over here, we'll probably see some massive pictures of cats. There we go. It's not too bad. I need another cat picture though. Let's go grab another one. Assuming we're using cats, so cat image.
Got mine working. Yes.
Oh no, that doesn't sound good.
I'm a bit behind you still. Mine looks prettier than yours, I'm sure.
Copy image. Copy link. Yeah, that's the one, isn't it? Let's pop that one in. And I'll quickly show what that's now looking like with hopefully 2 different images on the page. Oh, no, that wasn't the correct one. What have I got there? URL, that's not right. I want the image. Save images. Where's copy image address? Oh, there it is. I'm rushing a bit too much and not reading. Okay, close that off. There we go. That's a massive cat. So I need to do a bit of formatting on the page now for this. So whilst I will do some work on formatting how I want a blog to look, it sounds like Eddie's excited. So let's switch over to his screen and he can show you what he's excited about.
Well, I've kind of broken it now, but it was working a minute ago. So actually, before I hit save, I can show you. So if I show to mine, look at this beautiful, beautiful blog post listing thing majig. So I have now, since we've last spoken, since you ditched me for Andrew, I have the title Angular material. I renamed that. That was a lot of hard work. But I do have these links, so if I go to the home page and I can go to the list page, so now that works. So you can see the page change. And what I have got working is, this is a card and it's got one post, this details button doesn't work, but it has got one post coming through, and the only thing that's dynamic at the moment is post 1. So if I show you what that means is if I put in a post 2, you should see a second one. And it will look quite fugly. I'm halfway through editing stuff, which is a bit annoying. Post model. I'm kind of working on this. Okay, so what I'll just do is creating a model for the data. At the moment I'm using any, which is really bad practice, which is what JavaScript generally uses, but the beauty of TypeScript, we can put types so we know what to expect. So let's have a look. So what we're going to have here in the interface is we're going to have a title, and it's going to be a type string, and then we're going to have a description. And that's it really. If I hit save, I haven't actually used it yet, so we could include, so I've got observable any, I can now say post model. And now we know we get that type of post model, but it's not just post model, it's post model, and it's an array of the model post. If I hit save, it's still broken. Why is it still broken? It looks fine to me. Maybe I should rebuild it. Oh, it worked that time. Awesome. So now you can see I have post 1 and post 2, so it's totally dynamic, complete dynamic. So if I add in here. I'm not doing the HTTP request like Andrew's doing from JSON. I'm just putting it in my service. But later on, when I get the API done in a future stream, I will replace this fake data with a HTTP call to the API. So now I'm going to call it post 3. And before I hit save, I'll quickly show you. So I've got post 1 and 2. And I've hit save. Now post 3 will suddenly appear. Post 3. So you get the idea. It's reading the data from the service. And the service is at the bottom of the front end stack. So whenever we make any changes to this, it will filter up higher up to the UI into the stack. Don't forget, any questions on types, on Angular, on RxJS, on UI, on full stack, just put it in the chat. There are no bad questions. There are only good questions. And I bet you someone else is thinking the same thing as you. So do ask the question. You'll be helping a few people out. So I've got a description here. So let me just put description 1. I probably should get some Lorem Ipsum text. Description 2, can't spell description right, but you get the idea. We'll change it properly in a minute. And 3, well, not 4, 3. So if I save that, it's not going to get updated because I haven't put it in the UI. So all I need to do is, in the component, I'm just going to change posts to have a type. So it's going to be a type of post model, and it's going to be an array. Defaults to an empty array. And then we have on ng on init, it goes to get the data from there. So in the UI now, I just need to say in here, in the body, handlebars, and then we'll say post.description. It auto completes for us, as you can see in VS Code. My screen is flickering so much.
Yeah, it's a shame, isn't it? I would need to put the camera on a lower setting, so there's
I put the
lower
camera on
quality,
the
and we
lowest
put
one.
this on the 4K adapter. It might help
Could try that, yeah, and see.
next time.
And
Every time we have to tweak something.
yeah, we do. That's why you need to create videos, create content, create open source code,
Make mistakes.
make mistakes, and learn from them. Absolutely. So now you've got post 1, post 2, but underneath each one you have got description 1, description 2. But the subtitle is still hard coded, so let's change that as well. So what we need to do is go to the model, and into under title we could just say subtitle. It will still be a string, and then in the service it's throwing an error because we haven't got subtitle in there. So let's add subtitle. So we can go post 1, I don't know, subtitle. It's kind of stupid. We change this to subtitle. Again, if we copy this over, there we go. It's happy now. It's not upset. It's a beautiful TypeScript because your IDE, VS Code, or whatever you're using will tell you if something's wrong. So now if I go to, I don't need to change anything in the component. It will just still filter data all the way up through, which is awesome. Actually, I could change this from any to be post model array. It's inferred, but yeah, let's be specific. And then here in the HTML, all I need to do, none of the data is available, double handlebars, and then post dot, and it tells me what's available. And we have subtitle. Save all, not just save all, and then it doesn't work. Subtitle, I spelled it right, didn't I? Subtitle, it would tell me if it's wrong actually. Subtitle, I did save multiple times, so I probably busted it. Let me just do another save again. Let it rebuild. Yes, you can see in the error down in the console. I fixed it now. There you go, so you can see post 1, subtitle, post 2, so it is all dynamic coming through. But we need to make it look better than Andrew's because we are using material. So let's go to these pages, and now we know data's coming through. Let's remove it works. Let's try and put some sort of title in. What do we have in material design? That's the icons. So we want to know, what do we have? We have pop-ups, data tables, layouts, steppers, grid list, cards, dividers, menu. We did the toolbar. You could have a second toolbar without kind of sucking. You've got forms. You know what? Keep it simple. We'll just H to it and just say blog post list. Let's see how that looks. Hit save. On the home page, change it to H2 to be consistent. My blog post, and save it again. Let's have a look. So blog post list, homepage, my blog posts. No, we should just say my blog because there's no posts on that page. So it will be my blog and then blog post list. Andrew, that's flickering so much. You might as well go to yours, otherwise people really can't read stuff on mine.
Okay.
That's so bad. It's getting worse. You should be a quarter, and now it's gone to half, 3/4.
Yeah, that's a shame.
Apologies for that. Technical issues.
It's showing me at the point where I've just hit an interesting error that's coming up as well. So
Screen is super choppy. Yeah, we're going to switch to
mine at the
Andrew's
moment.
in a second. Switch over, and really sorry for the choppy screen. We have the HDMI output from mine into Andrew's is having some issues. So we'll switch to Andrew's screen. I'll just write that in the chat now because that'll probably go through quicker.
There you go. It's over now. So, yeah, as I was saying, join me now as I've just hit an interesting problem. So what I've been doing, so a moment ago you saw I had a list and I put some code into this HTML to show the blog items. But because I'm trying to get some best practice bonus points, I thought I should actually build a proper component for a blog item so that it could be reused. So I'm now doing a for loop over a blog item, and that is a new component I've created down here that I can use anywhere I want. It's imported by this components module, which is importing this blog item, and that blog item in turn has a selector. So this is what I put in the HTML when I want to use it, app blog item. Has to be prefixed by app because I haven't edited the Angular config to allow it to have different prefixes. Otherwise, the IDE in the build would complain if I hadn't prefixed it with app. Templates and URLs. So, yeah, an HTML file, CSS file. I haven't yet used a CSS file. And then I've got this input. An input allows me to send data into this component that I can use. Don't need to do anything else with it because the data actually comes through as I want it. So all I have to do is put an input. I call it blog, and it's going to be of type blog, where we created that blog type a minute ago. So in theory, all I need to do is go over to the HTML. There's the blog, call the blog, and it should run. Now, I'm just going to reboot that quickly. So the error that's coming up on the page is saying that an undefined something has been imported by the blog module. So the blog module is this one, and the only thing that I've added was importing my new components module. So the only thing I can think is that because I move stuff around, as you'll notice, I'm no longer having a modules folder. I've put the blog into here. One of the downsides to the auto loader is it doesn't remove files, so there might be two copies of a file, which can cause it some confusion. So that's why I'm doing a complete rebuild quickly, because that might fix the problem I was having. No, it hasn't. Okay, so pipe date can't be found. Okay, so that's a better error, and that's a valid error because that's part of the common module. And in my components module, in fact, probably the blog item module where it should be, I need to import the date pipe, which is part of the common module. So every module is completely separated.
Thank you for calling Andrew and distracting him. Keep calling him, keep messaging him, keep distracting him.
Yeah, phone calls are always good. You should always put your stuff on mute when you're in a meeting or doing a stream.
I have. Way ahead of you.
I'll mute it now.
And we haven't got long left, so we have to show and tell soon.
Yeah, I know. I've got to import my common module. That should then fix that date pipe error. That's looking better. However, can't find the assets now. That's interesting. I haven't moved those. Oh, I see. Okay. Again, I moved files. The IDE was trying to be clever, and it thought I'd moved something that I haven't moved. There we go. Back to what we had. But now, rather than if I was using this component in multiple places, I have to update multiple places. I can just update this module here with what I want in there. So I suppose I should start adding a little bit of styling to this. Obviously, Eddie's got some benefits here because he's got what he wants. But I can just wrap this in a div, let's say. So let's do that. We'll put a div around it. We'll put a class on this div, and we'll call this blog. What else do we want? We've got the H1 title. Yeah, go on. We'll put a class on that as well. Blog, and we'll put title. Image as well. That's going to need something because that's way too big right now. So we'll have blog image too. Content, that's probably okay. Let's put a class on this one. We'll call this blog date, because that's what it is. Content we'll leave alone for now, because in the future one, if we continue working on this, I want to do something else with that. Okay, so blog, which is my div, and then my title, I'm going to want to put something in for, and my image. And finally, I'm going to want something for my date to format that. Okay, so title, what we need to do is set an overall size, right? So in this top style guide, let's just say that the body, my font size default is going to be, I'll go with 20 pixels. Okay, so now I can use some relative sizes to that. So let's go font size for this can be, let's have it slightly on the big side, goes for 1.4 rems. Image, now this one probably needs to have a max, I'll just set up width, I guess. We'll set width to 400 pixels. Not going to look, it's not going to look after the height. We probably want to do some overflow and stuff with heights, but for the moment we're using ones that are different widths, so we'll keep different widths. So instantly I can see I've now got a little bit of formatting going on. The images are now the same size. Haven't yet got anything identifying each of these blogs as being two separate things. So let's put maybe a little bit of a border on there. We'll have it 1 pixel. Not too dark. Let's go around about the C. There we go. I'm going to put a border radius on too, maybe. Everyone loves a nice border radius. I'm sure Eddie's got lots of border radiuses with his material framework there.
You can't go wrong with border radius.
There we go. It's sitting full width. That's possibly okay, because obviously on the content it could be quite wide. We could get the title and the image perhaps to sit next to each other. Time-wise, have I got time for that? Not sure. Date,
You have plenty of time. Don't worry, keep going.
So we'll go a bit smaller on the font size. Go for 0.8 rems, because that doesn't need to be quite so big. So there it is. Nice little small font down there. Don't like the overall font we're using on the site, so maybe I'll just set a global one. Let's go to Google Fonts, because I love Google Fonts for grabbing a quick font. Let's pick something off here. If there's any preferences for fonts, then shout, but otherwise I'll just pick one quickly. How about Lato? That's a decent enough one. So again, Google Fonts tells you what you need to do. We need to add this to our HTML, and then we need to add this to our font. So I'll pop that into the main HTML for the page. Nice little copy and paste there. As Eddie said, it's copy and paste development. And
Connor's asking you a question, I think.
I'm going to set the font family. Let's set the font family, and then let's have a look.
Connor says he can't see the screen anymore. Did you use a shortcut? And
oh, I may have done a shortcut. Sorry.
That's a negative point for Andrew.
No.
+1 to me. We're winning. Right, let me write it up on the wall.
I'll apologise, because I probably hit option something when I was trying to do a rename.
0 point to Andrew. 1 point to Eddie. And you know, because I'm getting up to write it, I'm going to give myself an extra point.
I think someone's been watching a bit too much Top Gear. They just give themselves points for the hell of it. I'm going to give myself a few points in a minute as well.
Oh no, the pointer's off the
turning
screen.
up.
Wait, pointer's off the screen. You can't even see it.
You can't see it at all now because it's gone too small.
Right, below, 2 points.
Okay, so I've popped Lato in, and there we go. The font now, much nicer font. Images are now the same size. And I know you couldn't see some of this because apparently I'm not sure at what point I must have switched to the camera, but obviously I have got some capability in here of setting things up. So I've put classes in, put a div around it, a blog title, image, date, and the CSS is using those. So blog title, image, date. I don't need to get too clever right now. I mean, we could add a bit of padding inside here. Let's see. We'll pad it with 1 rem as well. Just give it a bit more space.
That doesn't look very good. Mine looks much nicer.
Okay. Let me give it a bit of background colour too. Everyone loves a little bit of background colour.
Don't do that. That catch me up. We need to set a time limit, right? Okay, so how long we got? I think we should 8:15. 14 minutes. No, 9 minutes. That's too little. No, we should. We should like see where we get to, because that'd be an hour. That'd be an hour.
Will it? It was about 15:15.
Yeah, in 9 minutes it'd be 8:15. It's how time flies when you're having fun.
Okay, right, we're against the hammer now. If that's the
Okay,
case.
9 minutes.
Okay, so I've got my my blog, and I've got some content there. We can add a bit more content, but because the time's short and we're not being tested against how much content we're showing on the page.
Give Andrew some content ideas. Send us some links for some content.
What do we want to do now? I think we need a bit of spacing between the two blogs, so let's quickly do that. So because that's managed at the list up here, I need to drop in a class. So we'll say class, and we'll just call it blog list. And that's going to have something in here, so blog list. Who likes grid? I'm going to use grid.
Have you switched again?
Display.
Andrew, what are you doing?
What's going on there?
I've
obviously got a key somewhere that's causing it to swap over from Stream Deck. Okay. Let's see, if we had a Stream Deck here, it wouldn't be causing a problem because it would disable all those shortcut keys that can occur.
You need a new computer.
Okay, I can do grid gap, and we can set the grid gap to 1 rem as well. So hopefully now I've got nothing changed. That's a good start. Class blog list. I did include it, didn't I? List component SCSS, yeah, that's included. That's right, so always check that one first. A number of times I've thought, oh, this should be working, and then realised I haven't actually added it. I think I know what it is. I need to say where the grid's going. So we've got columns or rows. It's probably going to be rows. I mean, we could do columns. We could say, I'll just say 1FR for now. If I was to put 2 of those in, I should see these guys. Yeah, there we go. So it's now got 2 spaces to it. Interesting grid gaps misbehaving on me.
Do you want to flick to mine for a second? While you're fixing
if it's
that.
not going to flicker too much.
Hope it doesn't flicker. If it does, we'll switch back. We'll keep an eye on it. It's hard to see. I have to see the flicker on the. It'll be a delay. You might have to check up OBS. If you flick to mine.
Yep, it's on you.
Okay, cool. So, what do you think of my blog posts? My lists of blog posts. And I put some rabbit as pictures. So anyone who likes rabbits like me, you will see they have rabbit pictures. And all this information, including the images, is coming from the service. I added an image property, and I added some lorem ipsum for the description and for the subtitle. And in the model, I added an image property. It's not choppy at the moment, which is good. So let me show you what it's like. And then each card boxes were touching each other, so I just added a bit of SCSS to say margin bottom. And that's it. Oh, it's getting choppy again. You might want to switch back to yours. It's looking good. Whose? Andrew's or mine, Connor? Mine, not Andrew's. Vote for me. I think we should get the audience to vote.
Okay.
But yeah, which one do you think is looking better so far? I need to start my navigation though.
Right, did I actually make a change there? I'm not sure if I did. Margin bottom. So we're trying to get into. Right, I think I know what the issue is here. So what I need to do is whack a div around this. So one of the things Angular does, and you can change it, is encapsulate things that prevents you from pushing code up and down, and that can have an effect. Let's just check if that's fixed it. Yeah. So I can probably go back to grid now rather than trying to do a quick margin bottom on it all.
Nothing wrong with a bit of margin bottom, that's what I did.
No, there's nothing wrong with it. It's just, yeah. Okay, I'm not going to spend time trying to wonder why grid's not behaving.
5 minutes.
Exactly, the clock's ticking.
We haven't got sound effects.
And we need to do some stuff. So margin, bottom, 1 rem again. I need to try and probably squeeze the page in a bit. So let's do that. So again, I can pop a div around this. Class, content. And so here, content is going to be, let's see, margin, auto, and we probably want to set a width on it, so width 800. Okay, there we go. I can center everything down the page. That's a bit nicer. What else have we got? So we've got the actual blog component. I should have probably done that in the blog component. I'm going to move that. And I don't really have time for it, but I'm going to do it. Living life on the edge of the timer, that is.
Oh, I broke something. Shit. What did I break? Don't break
this
now.
Is where the H1 tag should be really as well, so I should really move. Actually, we want this to be a nav. No, we don't have any navigation points. There's no point having a nav when there's no nav. Let me grab that CSS that I put in.
I broke it. Connor's writing something. What's he saying?
Hopefully it stays broken. You don't get a chance.
Is CSS Grid used much in production websites? I find it really good for making layouts, but rarely see any sites using it. I think IE support's
There's a
bit
difficulty with IE, yeah. So if you
polyfills though,
right? No, not for Grid there isn't.
Oh, is it not?
No. So we have built sites using Grid and given IE support. So what you have in CSS is an @supports tag. So what we would normally do is we would start with something like flex, and then if you want to support Grid, we add the @supports Grid, and then if the browser supports it, it will execute that, which will override flex or whatever else you use with Grid. But then you start to argue, well, you're kind of writing CSS twice. Yes, there are some nice benefits. I mean, you can have additional improvements then perhaps on new browsers, because Grid, I think, can improve the layout and it's a bit cleaner, but you're increasing the amount of data you're sending and so forth. So questionable if it's really a sensible thing to do. So here we go. I've got some sort of blog coming together. I can see the title, I can see the content and so forth. What I haven't got is another page to click into to view the detail of that blog. And that's going to be a question mark as to whether there's time to do that, because it's quite a bit to build that. But we could try and go for bonus points for having a view page. So
2 minutes.
Okay, how fast can I add a view page? So view.
I want to do the same. Oh shit, can I do it? I've just done my no navigation. Oh yes, it's looking sexy. Wait to show you this, looking good.
HTML.
Right, okay, can I do the same? What's the command? ng, to add a component.
I don't know, I've just added one by just writing it.
ng component details. View's good.
Template.
Come on! Created.
I like how Eddie had to look at what I'd called mine to decide what's
What did you call yours?
View.
You're thinking of Vue.js, that's what it is.
Not today.
View.
Okay, here we go, we're almost there. Export class.
Component.
View component. Okay, and the view, we're going to need to grab an item out. So
I
we'll
can
get
undisable that button.
constructor.
Oh shit, I haven't got IDs. Bollocks. Oops. Didn't mean to swear. Oops. I haven't got IDs.
Eddie doesn't swear.
How can I
Much.
pick up? Oh, I know, I've got it. We're going to do it. Can we get a 5-minute extension, people? Please, people. What do you think? Andrew, do you concur?
Time. You called how long you wanted. I'm quite happy to have an extra few minutes.
I think, do you concur? What do the people watching think? Can we get an extra 5 minutes just so we can do... I've got to find all, but I want to find one by ID. So, yes, please, that would be really helpful.
Yeah, go on. Let's see if we can show some sort of view page.
Observable.
And again, I'm going to want something for blog, so
Postmodel.
private blog.
I'm doing some cool stuff
Is
here. I
it
want to show my
blog?
screen.
Yeah, but yours is broken, so
screen is-
everyone's stuck with having to watch what I'm doing.
My screen is busted.
This blog service.
That must have a
I'm going to have
handicap
to
then.
find one blog. It's going to always return the same blog, that means, for now, but that's okay, because we'll improve it when we come to having a back end. And I need to actually build that, otherwise it's not going to understand it. So, go back to the blog service. I'll duplicate the find all to have a find one. And we'll just call it item JSON. So find one blog, go back.
Can't spell return.
So
Come
there
on,
it is,
Eddie.
and I can have a subscribe on it for blog. And then this blog equals blog.
Yeah, 6 with a find here because I'm faking my API call.
It's saying, oh, okay, because the return type, I didn't update the return type. It's not going to be an array anymore. It's going to be a single one. Okay, that's better. That's all fixed. So we need to then add the blog view.
Oh shit. ID equals.
Why is it not finding it? View.
Yes, I know. I
Oh,
haven't got
helps
an
if I
idea
actually
yet.
put an export in there. Export class, blog view.
Okay. 'Cause we need time to review this. That's why we can't extend it for too long.
Yeah, of course.
I'm going to review each other's work, and you're going to vote. ID. If you
Okay,
vote for me,
declaring
I'll
that.
send you some swag. Okay, so I've got my service, returning data. On the button,
Interesting.
router link,
Okay.
router link.
And then I need to have another child, which we're just going to call it
Post
view
ID.
for now.
Well, that won't work.
Okay, so we have ability to go to a view page. I need to actually have
Already?
a link. So I need to pop a link into...
Slow Andrew down. Andrew, you got some more questions?
Yeah. And I'm just going to put a button on the page for now. What's the button? I can do an anchor tag, why not?
I think you should look at the
A
questions.
View more. And that's going to be using router link, which is, again, an Angular way of navigating
It's getting
around.
intense in the last few minutes. Oh no, I need another 5-minute extension. It's going to be super cool if it works though. Well, it will work. I need more time. Distract Andrew.
We don't have anything called blog. We have that.
Andrew, you got more questions?
Have I now?
You have. Connor, ask him a question, please. I really wonder where he has to think for a few minutes.
I know very well that Eddie is trying to distract me, and there is no questions because nobody ever asked me stuff. What have I got
Shit, why
wrong?
isn't that?
Oh, this is getting intense now when I've just gone and caused an error.
I can't remember how to get the data from the root, which is really stupid of me.
Not part of anything.
Oh, sorry, bashed the mic. Riddlestone's in. Such concentration. Yes, distract him. 4DX game. 4DX coding. I need a super soaker. Psh. 4DX then.
Yeah, I think I've managed to break something at the last minute, which is never good. Component blocks is not part of any module. Block component, not part of any module. I'm sure it is.
Model. View. Shit, I haven't been looking at my view yet. Oh, I haven't done the HTML for the view yet. Oh my god, I'm so screwed. So screwed.
See, this is where I can just say I need to put some HTML in too. Oh, but I can just use my little blog thing that I made and
Post.
just use that to show
It's going to
it.
be a post. It's going to
Because
be a
I've just built a little
model.
component that is reusable. However, I have an issue. Blog component is not part of any module. The module has not been put into.
Post model. Constructor. So I can't even get help because I can't share my screen. That's my disadvantage.
What if I missed? So I've got item there. This is where having a few tests would have been helpful. Blog view, blog list. Not giving me any errors there. Component.
Oh, the silence.
I
Question
know,
for
it's all gone
Andrew.
quiet. All gone quiet. It's trying to figure out what was broken.
Such low tactics. You got a question from Riddlestone. Don't be rude. You got to look at the chat.
Question for Andrew, why is Eddie resorting to such low tax? Because he knows he's not going to get a view page, although I have broken my view page, and I'm not quite sure what I've gone and broken in the rush of adding a view. I have a template file. That looks good. I have style URLs. I have an init. I am calling a blog. I think it could be because I haven't actually put in some item JSON for the item. That could be it. So let me grab that. Eddie always resorts to low tactics. We should all know this. Anything to get an edge. Okay. Don't make any
What?
difference whatsoever.
Why is switch map not loading? Where's my RJX.js?
That wasn't it. Assets blog item.
You got some help?
Assets blog item. I could certainly do with someone to pair and.
Well, you're sharing a
figure out what
screen.
I've
You got
mentioned.
like 5 or 6 people watching who compare with you. I've got no one helping me. Feel bad for me.
Yeah, if anyone can shout and spot what I've missed.
Just shout.
exactly shout on the chat what I've missed. Blog view component, we've got blog service, that all looks fine. It's something about the module. Declarations, blog list, blog view,
Okay, I got a better
they're all
solution.
correct. The app module, that looks good. Routing module, we don't need to declare it there, we just need to call it in as a child, which looks fine. Although saying that, that might be the wrong way around.
ID.
You should put the empty ones at the end generally, but I don't think that's going to be causing this problem. It's a bit odd that it's suddenly saying that, because it wasn't doing that a moment ago, and I have not changed anything to do with that.
What's wrong with that?
This is the one time when it could really do with TypeScript actually giving me a compile time error rather than this being a runtime error. What you can get is that because we've got the routing module here, so when we're loading this in, so I was using lazy loading, I've got a load children which is calling my blog module, which my blog module is this one over here. It calls common router routing components. So components, that's fine. Routing is what loads that. This is where it declares that the blog view is now an available item. All looks fine, no errors on there, just an error on here.
We're the error. That's what you're trying to say.
Yeah, I think we are the error. I've really got myself stumped in this rush.
Shit, so close.
Okay, let me turn off that path and see if it fixes it. Go backwards.
What's the service I need to get the parameter off the root? The parameter off the root. I thought it's active.
Activated root. Yeah.
Is it activated? Activated root. But is it snapshot or just activated root?
Activated root. Yeah.
Why does that not find it? Type string is not assignable to parameter of type number.
That's really odd that it's complaining about blog component. Yeah, it's not to do with that.
String or null.
Okay, let's go check on CodeMortal's website how that was built quickly.
Number.
I'm sure I haven't made a mistake, but I just want to check quickly. When I'm creating a routing, which I don't have the declarations in here. No, see.
Okay, we've gone over by it quite a bit, but we need a bit more. Mine's busted.
It's actually a working project, yeah.
We did say if it wasn't working, you lose.
So we've both lost it, is what you're saying. Even though we've both got something that does work behind the scenes.
It's because we got greedy. It's because we got greedy.
Never rush in 2 minutes to try and deliver another.
It's like a hackathon, right? Mini hack.
Yeah.
Hackathons are like, and you always rush at the end and always fuck it up.
One thing I always say to Eddie when we do a hackathon, the code must always build and be working.
Yeah.
But normally, if you've done such a small amount of change, because it isn't much, all I've done is add a view. So I could delete this, I could undo it, delete that. I could go into the blog module, I could delete that. I could take it back to what it was before I had the view, which includes the service code that I added. So we take all of that out. Now it is exactly where it was when the code was working. Let's see if it works again. Apart from it's complaining because I've just deleted stuff again. Okay. Give that a moment. So there's nothing else that I could have missed.
I think we need to call it. We need to call it. Let's get it working and call it.
It's really odd that I'm getting the same error. I must have accidentally moved a file somewhere, and I'm not sure where I've done it.
We need to call it. I won't have view details, nor will you.
Always commit your work, because if you've committed your work, you've got something you can go back to that was working and figure out what you've got and broken.
Let's call it. Come on.
Okay, I'm just going to do one last thing.
One last thing. We said that like 10 minutes ago.
Which is, I just want to have a look at the local history. So sometimes, even though I haven't committed, I could look at my local history for the project, and I can say around about, where were we? 1:15-ish.
I was trying to fix
Things
mine.
were working. So about here-ish, things were working. What did we change? I'm trying to just find the bit where the files were in. There we go. So I can see that in here the router link was put in. It's possible the router link's causing the problem. That's going on. We've added the routing module into the app. Added the view, that's all good. Let me just see, so if I quickly delete this line here, is this what's causing all that problem? No. Okay. I'm not sure what else has changed locally then. It's a very odd error to suddenly be getting that it can't find that module. That's a bit rubbish though to finish on not being able to show something. Have you got something you can show now?
I have in 2 seconds now.
Actually,
while you were talking, I thought I might as well just make mine work. So I've just kind of done mine. Just saving it to the variable and it will work. He says he hopes. Let's do it. Okay, moment or two, I'm going to click it. Shit, error. What?
So, just want to get something working, don't you?
Oh, I know what I did wrong. It's fine. It's good. All good. All good. Just, I didn't put a / in the root. That's okay. We're good. Let's just check. You can't see my screen, which is a real shame. Yes! No! Another / I missed. Wait. Okay, give me a countdown. 30 seconds.
30 seconds? What?
Okay, 10 seconds.
Only if mine works this time, you can have it.
Okay, I'm good. Let's go.
Go on then.
As Andrew show his first, who doesn't work on it anymore. Is yours working? It looks a bit busted.
There's an error
okay.
that I can't get rid of for some reason. It's going to be something dead obvious as well.
Should we parent Andrews and just fix it for him? Come on, let's give this poor old man a fighting chance. Let's have a look. Right, what have we got?
Well, the error is that it can't find the blog component. So it's not part of any ng module, right?
Okay.
So I looked at the ng module. Blog component is declared here. It's in the right path. It's in the module. That module is obviously included in the router. So
you've probably broken it down into modules and everything. Look at you want extra points.
Well, I was going for some of the best practice points, you see. The only problem is that the best practice has failed to build.
It's because premature optimization.
It was let's go and do something
Optimization, nothing else. You dirty-minded people. Okay. You've tried stopping the build and rebuilding it just in case it didn't pick up any made file moves or anything that you've done?
Yeah, I did do that because we do get those problems on occasions. But yeah, it's literally, there's no particular reason that I can see that it would be saying that the blog component is not part of a module when that has not been an issue up until this moment in time.
Can you get the list? So do the other ones work? Other components work?
Well, no, because it's blowing up on this module. So that they're all attached to that module, you see.
Oh, it's the error is module, not component. Sorry, I don't know why I'm thinking component.
Yeah, so whilst I tried to go back to when it was before the view, it's still having an issue with the module, which is really, really weird.
Got a question from Riddlestone. He says, why is Eddie so much better than Andrew? His works and looks awesome. I'm sure that's what he wrote in the chat.
Yeah. No, I am a little annoyed at myself for managing to break it for no particular reason.
You went all fancy, but there must be something. Must be something.
Looks good.
It won't be at the service, though, would it? It would be something, higher up.
Well, it's got to be something in here. That's the only place that it could be causing a problem.
Yeah.
So.
And you try stopping and starting it.
Delete that. So it's not safe to delete. Yeah. I could change to the other way of doing the routing rather than doing sort of the new way. I could go to the old school way.
Old school?
I don't think that's going to be a reason though, but we could do that. We do that.
These kids and the new techniques, trying to be fancy. I don't know. What's
So you can do
wrong?
this here with blog module 2. I don't think that's going to make any difference to it. It'd be very odd if it did.
Rebuild. I think for every minute we take extra, you lose a point. You must be on like -20 by now.
I'll rebuild it for you because you said rebuild it. But
Oh,
I don't think that can't be the issue. That it's something. It's just not finding blog component anymore, even though it hasn't moved. It's not broken. The file is fine. That would be the only other reason.
Oh, you switched again to the screen rather than your code.
How am I doing that?
Are you hitting something on like the top bar or something?
I must have set a shortcut key somewhere that's wrong.
Did it work? Did it
Okay.
work? Did it rebuild?
I think everyone's keen to know, can I get it to build? But
It worked. No.
it's misbehaving on that.
Okay. It looks like I've run this episode without even showing my work. But let's show my work. Switch over to mine.
Go on then.
Let's have a look. Hopefully it won't flicker too much.
I'll see
So
if, whilst you're showing it, I can figure out why it's complaining.
So we have, if you look at the top, if you look at the screen, I now have on the top right navigation over to the right hand side. I used Flex for that, and I can go back to the home page, and I can go to the list page, and I got my list of my blogs, post 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and you can click on details. If you click on details, I get post 1, and I've got a back button, and if I click on details of post 2, hopefully I get post 2. Oh shit, I get post 1 still. I found a bug.
Oh, that's instantly 20 points taken off.
Oh, I can fix it. Wait.
No, you can't fix
We,
bugs.
we can fix it
I'm
together.
trying to fix a bug. But
So why does that ask list? We don't want list. List works. Forget list.
what are you doing? Let's have a look.
So view component. I've hard coded 1 in. I didn't have time to get the routing. That's why I always get 1.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Okay. So it's not a bug. It's actually I didn't implement it yet. So if I got it from the routing, then it would work. So I could go this root snapshot parameters dot, is it ID just like that? I can't remember. Let's have a look. And it should find one, subscribe to it, and get the data. Let's see if that worked. Details. Still.
Oh, your screen's frozen.
Oh. Screen. Oh, sorry, Connor. Thanks for pointing it out. I think that thing has stopped flickering and it's actually probably died. Yes, you might need to invest in a new cam link. I think we should stop by a whole load of more. 5 more. Those are cameras up. Okay, so if you switch to Andrew's,
Not that helps. We could go to the main camera. There you
yes. Well, I think it's obvious that I won for 2 reasons. One, mine looks prettier.
go. I don't know about prettier.
How does yours look? Yours is like a white screen with an
It
error.
does look like a white screen. I don't think you can get better than something that's nice and clean and clear.
Minimalistic. And mine worked ish. You got the list.
Yeah. No, you at least can show something. Whilst people, if you rewind the video, you will see I had working code. There was a nice list showing. It was all looking good. But yeah, I then went and added a view, and somehow adding that view, I'm gonna have to play back the video and see what it is I did.
I think.
I was screen sharing still. You might have been screen sharing.
How many points have I got?
But hang on, what about all those points for distracting? Eh? Yeah, I think
then-
you lose a few for that.
And then Andrew gets like minus. All those minuses. Just pay attention to the minus. I don't know.
Oh, I don't know why I let you abuse me like this.
So, write in the chat who you think won. I obviously think, if I'm being fair, not biased, I won. But let us know what you think. Who do you think won, Andrew? Not being biased, being fair.
I think, in all fairness, well done, Teddy. 'Cause
Yay!
he had working code at the end of it, whilst he might have not followed very many best practices to do it.
Oh, what?
And
It's Angular, it's
he
material.
cheated by borrowing
It's good.
another framework to do his design. It did have something working at the end. So and that is one of the benefits as well for actually using a design framework. It does make things a little bit easier, and they do tend to work. I am a little bit disappointed with Angular for not telling me exactly where the problem is. Some versions give you much better insight as to what's going on. But normally, yeah, if you're committing your code when it's working, and you don't tend to break stuff that was working, because that was working, that particular bit. So, annoying. I will have to fix that error, just so that error is fixed for the next stream.
Yeah, do that.
We need that working so that we can do the next one.
We can do that on the train home now.
But yeah, I will get that fixed, and yeah, at the start of the next stream, I'll show what it would have looked like with just that line being fixed. I won't change anything else about it.
Okay. Let us know in the comments or in the chat. I'll delete in the comments so we don't lose it after the stream finishes in a few minutes, about what you thought, what you would like to see. We could get somebody in we can get Anton in who does React. We can get him to build the same thing in React, and we have a competition between Angular and React. I think it'd be quite interesting to see that. And doing the blog post. We could also build a game together, or maybe we write a platform where we write our own players, see which player is smarter, or we could write a game together. We've got loads of ideas, but I'd love to hear your thoughts. Thank you, Connor, for saying that was good fun to watch. What else can we do?
It was good fun doing it. I did enjoy it.
Mini hack.
It was a little bit stressful, certainly towards the end there.
End of the day, it's quite hard to do that as well.
It was a mini hack, more micro hack.
Yeah, it's super micro hack.
An hour and 15 minutes, basically.
It was, but it was good. I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I hope you did too. Cool. Well, good night, everyone. Give us a thumbs up and subscribe. The usual stuff. And we'll see you soon, probably next week, for a live stream.
Yep.
We're hoping to record a video tomorrow, which we'll put on the channel. So I'm hoping to record tomorrow. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, we're going to hopefully head over to the YouTube space for it, as long as we can get it in the door.
Do you want to do the training now?
We need to do that, but yeah, we'll see. Maybe we'll do it now, but not on the stream.
Not on the stream, no. It's secret training. We'll let you know how it goes, and we'll chat to you soon.
Thanks,
good work, guys. Thanks
Hopefully
for
it was
the stone.
interesting. Apologies that it was broken at the end. I'm still gutted by that.
Well, I'm gutted that my screen was broken. I couldn't show the awesome work I did, and you were gutted that your app was broken. Basically, I think I was hindered.
That's a good point, really, because Eddie bought a crap laptop with him. I think we should take some points off as well for that.
What? It's not the laptop. Look, I'm going to hold the screen up to the camera, and you can see how beautiful it looks. See? You can't see that, can you? No, okay.
Okay, cool. All right. No, thank you for joining us.
Thanks, everyone. Catch you next time.
Hopefully it'll be more fun as well next time. We'll do something.
We're working on it.
Yeah, we'll probably go to the back end next time. Done some on the front end. We'll go to the back end. Then we'll bring it all together.
Some magic.
Yeah, I'm going to win next time.
Cool. Catch you next time.
All right. Cheers, guys. Good night.
You need to hit stop. You have the power.